Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I'm back. It's Sunday, August 21st, 2022. I hope everybody is well. Um, I am going to do live readings here as per every Sunday, and I am not a doctor, a lawyer, a therapist, or a financial advisor. If you need one of those, please seek those. That is to cover my butt, legally speaking. Davri, you have two questions. I don't know who's here. Hi, Meg. That I'm going to pin this one so that if anybody wants to, that's pinned. Is that right? Did I do that right? Yes, excellent. Okay, let me make sure it's clickable. Hello, Urban Lady. How are you? Hi, Malik. How are you? I just want to make sure that that link works to. Yep. Okay. So, I'm so glad everything is well with you. So, what's new with me? Not a lot. I have been. Oh, okay. So, last weekend I went to the eye doctor. And I'm 44, so this wasn't a big shocker that she's like, "You need reading glasses." So my vision did not change. I tend to so my eyes are actually a -2 in both eyes, but I prefer -1.75, and she thinks that's funny. Most eye doctors think it's weird that I like it, not as strong. Hi, Davri. And so she's like, "You need reading glasses. You're gonna love these." Or she said, "We'll give you multifocal lenses. You're gonna love them. I love them. I've been wearing 15 years." And I get in the car and I had to drive somewhere on the highway, and I was like, "Nope, hate them, hate them." I felt like motion sick the whole time. And I know they say you get used to that, but then also the street signs take longer to come into focus. And I was like, "Nope, I'll just wear reading glasses." So I ordered reading glasses, and I thought these were funny, but they're really I don't know, they're weird, but I can see that clearer now. But I don't know. I probably should get some actual whatever. I don't know, whatever, but they work for what I need. So I hope everybody's well. Those are my 44 old lady moment, needing some reading glasses. And I get car sick really easily. That's why I drive everywhere. I finally, after being married for 10 years, I was like, I can't stand this anymore. I have to drive, because it wasn't his driving. It's just if I'm not driving, then it's so I just felt terrible all day long. Why are you apologizing? Oh, do not apologize. Don't apologize even for random questions. Just enjoy life. You know what I realized is so we talk about especially women, with clothes, we'll be like, "Oh," somebody like, "Oh, I really like that dress." And you're like, "Oh, this? Oh, yeah, it's just from Target." Why? I went to that thing I went out to in California, and this woman had a really pretty dress on, and it was like a little flowy slip style sundress, and someone complimented her. I was like, "Yeah, it's really, really pretty." And she's like, "Oh, this I just got in France for $6." I'm like, "Well, even if you paid $1,000, it'd be worth it. It's beautiful." Who cares how much you paid for something? Don't devalue it. If someone's complimenting you, I've really taken into a habit of recognizing that I did that a lot, and so now I just say thank you. Thank you so much. I don't even tell people where it's from unless they ask. I just say thank you so much. There's no shame in. I also thought it was funny because I complimented somebody on something, and they were like, I was like, "Oh, where'd you get it?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know." And then I saw it at Target, and I thought, don't be embarrassed about shopping at Target. Just shop at Target. Who cares? like Wherever you get something, it doesn't matter. Who cares if it's not high class enough for somebody else, or if it's whatever. Yes, I'm 44. When you see me closer, well, I dye my hair, but my hair's coming back. So I started taking iodine, and because I had thinning hair, I had all the signs of having thyroid issues, but a lot of times thyroid issues are actually related to being iodine deficient. Hi, Regine. It's good to see you. And so my hair is like, I'm getting like, it's like not, it used to be way thinner. And I have all these baby hairs and my like baby hairs here. And lots of water and sleep. But I'm telling you, when people are like, oh, I do all these facials and whatever, just like if you get the right minerals in your body and you're like, it's a game changer because I have energy. I feel more confident. And I don't know if it's just like, just research iodine deficiency and all of the things that it's incredible. And I really believe I was talking to my cousin about this, she's like crazy smart. She's got a PhD in biochemistry from Duke. She's became a patent agent and then became a patent attorney. She's super, super smart. And she's like, I always feel like she's really level-headed. Like she's the person I go to when I have any kind of sciencey question where I'm like, what do you think of this research? And I was talking to her about it. She goes, oh, that's interesting. I go, I think that they don't research it enough because there's no money in it. And it affects so many different areas of your body that it affects so many different areas of like ways people make money. Just read about it. It's really fascinating. And I'm not to be a conspiracy theorist, but we live in capitalism. So, and thank you. Thank you for saying I look like I'm 25. I don't close up. Let's see. Okay. All right. I was giving you a close up, an extreme close up. All right. So let's go. Who has questions? I've got Devry for 2. I was trying to remember Whistle Tea. Yes, Whistle Tea. I put you in for 1. And then Nicole, if you're here. And if anybody else wants to join in. Okay, so you're going to have to ask another question. I'm just going to tell you this, like, this is not psychic. This is just friendly on a friendly basis. We are in control of our destiny. So when I do readings, remember this, I'm reading it based on where your energetic path is headed, but it is not, I guess they're home from the pool. It is not a for certain, you have to do this. It's never like you have no power. This is like, well, I thought my family was home from the pool with somebody soliciting, or whatever, who knows? You are not required to stay on that path regardless. You have a choice to change the direction you're going. In fact, it was interesting, like, I've had readings where they're like, "But it's your choice." And I'm like, "Ugh, but I just want somebody to tell me what to do," because I wanted to give away my power. Don't give away your power. So if you don't wanna be there, let's look at it. But I saw he's just soliciting or something like that. Like trying to get us to like give us information or get us to use some service. It looked like some kind of flyer he's got. So thank you for letting me know. I see D. I saw it. I saw it. I saw it. I just looked at that D. So also this won't affect y'all, but I may be opening up Cash App and doing some other ways to pay besides just PayPal for what it's worth. Okay, so do you want me to look at if you're going to be in Virginia forever? Or do you want to use a different question? Because I'm fine with that. Okay, good. Change it. Good. So remember when we ask questions, I'm just teaching you how to ask questions when you ask any psychics, because I know some of y'all go to other people, which is totally fine. I I have a different group of people. Like sometimes I'm like, I think I want this person's perspective, because we all have different styles. Um, don't ask anybody if you should do something. And I say that because, first of all, there's not everybody believes this, but when you say should you, you're giving your power away. You're asking somebody else to tell you what to do. And truly, when your guides, my guides never tell me what to do. They will let me sit and bang my head on the wall and be like, "Ow, this hurts. Why does this hurt? Ow, this hurts." And they're like, they won't go, "Well, you should do this." Until I kind of go, "All right, I'm ready to release this. Show me the way." Then they're like, "Okay, here, let's go for it." Um, they will like just sit and watch you, and it's not because they're like sadistic or anything. It's just sort of like your willpower is yours. You have free will. All right. So if Whistle T Meg, if you want to ask your questions, you can. There we go, Devery. Oh, really? Oh, I'm so glad that they reached out. I find it funny. I don't know if you guys watch the tarot readings on TikTok or I guess they have them on Instagram because Instagram Reels is just basically TikTok vomited it's almost like chewing the cud. I know that sounds really gross, but when cows because they have 4 stomachs, they re-chew it. I feel like that's what Instagram Reels are. Anyway, so it's gross. Like a lot of the tarot people are like, "Oh, this person's coming back. These people are," but remember that can be like anybody returning from the past. It doesn't have to be a romantic thing. So maybe you have past people coming back. That's what also when they talk about in astrology, when they're like, this is where old relationships come back. It doesn't have to be just romantic. Is it wise for me to proceed with a facilitator course through a connection who is my podcast guest? Meaning, will it lead to work or is it a dead end? So would you be facilitating the course or you're taking the course? Because I want to just make sure I'm clear on what I'm asking. Because as you recall, how you ask a question is like a complete game changer when you're doing this work. I heard somebody say, and I thought it was interesting, they were psychic, and they're like, "I turn it off. I don't have it on all the time. So when I got this message to send to you guys, it's like a big deal." And I'm like, I don't turn this off. I don't understand how you turn it on and off. Uh, that makes no sense to me. Probably because I've been so connected my whole life that it's like, well, what do you mean? Like, I don't turn off my eyesight just because, like, um, sometimes it's louder than other times, but that's kind of like when you watch something that's streaming or that's on a YouTube video where it's like the commercial part's quiet and then yeah, I don't pay for YouTube, so I get commercials. But then or the person will be talking and it's normal level and then they're like, "Rah!" And it's like this scream because I have children who watch YouTube and some of those channels are intense. So are you teaching the course that you're facilitating with this person that you've done a podcast with? Is that what the plan is? Meg? Sorry, I'm just rambling. Okay, I'll check Regine. Oh, okay. I do feel like it would behoove you to do this course, and I don't feel like it leads you to it's not necessarily about the course leading you to the job because I do feel you'll get some jobs from it. It's more about the connections that you get from those jobs. Hi, Julia. Oh, hi, KK. I listened to this interesting, like it's a podcast that I wouldn't normally, but I listened to this guy because, so his name's Tom DeLonge. He was in Blink 182 and he's now into like UFO energy e stuff. And he works with like high up government people. So it's not like conspiracy theory. Like I see some people I know that are into UFO stuff, and I'm always like, no, I don't see it. That's a cloud. Like I don't see it like that. Doesn't look like anything to me. Because I also think like when people are like aliens abducted me, I'm like, I think that they have more sophisticated ways of doing things than some of the things people think they're doing is the best way for me to put it. Anyway, so this guy's like not out there. He's very like logical and down to earth. And he was talking about like, and this is what I love. He's like, oh, energy healing is real. Like he's like, government people do it. Like he was like full on, not even like, and I don't know, it's really interesting. So it's he was on Steve O, who I know he was in Jackass, so like, but is pretty spiritual being, which is interesting. Um, he was it was very interesting. So anyway, if you find that podcast, it's on Spotify. I'm sure it's on Apple. It's Steve O's podcast, and Tom DeLonge is a person. It's very interesting. And the first like few minutes, he's talking about band stuff or whatever. But after like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, he starts talking about like the more. You did listen to it. Okay. I just found it interesting. I find it more valid when you talk about manifesting and energy work and that your thoughts create your reality. When you find people who are not full on into this weird scape, but they're like very like logical and kind of level-headed and balanced about it, that to me gives it so much more weight than the people who are like off into like the lizard world of stuff and all of that. Because I don't know. And they're like more of a fear-based thing. Okay, so let me see who's made payments. I hope did that satisfy your question, Meg? Oh, I've got Regine. Okay. Regine and Julia and okay, so Regine, I got you. Um, and Julia, I have yours as well. Okay. Um, so what I think is really interesting is that I saw something about there being they found some kind of medicine for COVID, something with I don't know if it's a vaccine or what it is where it's something that deals with the different spike proteins so that the fact that it's constantly changing won't be an issue anymore. I feel like it's a new discovery, so it's gonna take a little while, but remember I said that COVID was gonna be an issue through 2023, but by 2024, we're okay with it? That might be why. And remember I said, and, who was it? Cindy last week sent me the video. It's like from 2 years ago, but I know I said it before that where I said I saw Trump getting arrested and there's so much stuff coming out. So that's exciting for me. Sorry if you're a Trump lover, but that man is as guilty as the day is long. Nicole is for love. Let's see. I've got Regine. I've got D. Regine and Julia. Is it Julie? Julia. Okay, good. I got that right. Definitely, I'm looking at yours. I'm trying to think because I saw something the other day about mold exposure and some of the inflammation and stuff going on in your sinuses and other areas. It feels like first of all, the thyroid stuff, when you're like, "Oh, I'm taking the supplements," with that kind of stuff, when it starts working through your body, it takes a while for them to really start taking effect. You might start noticing a little bit here and there. Like for me, the iodine, I notice like very quickly, but I'm also seeing even more changes over time. Um, I don't know that it's better in 6 months, but I feel like you'll feel better in 6 months. Like, I don't feel like it's 100%, but it just, like, feels like it's gonna take, like, a full, and this sounds like a really long time, so please forgive me when I say this, a full, like, 2 years for your body to kind of recover and recuperate from basically, it's like overstimulation of all of the, like, stuff that you were exposed to, like the mold exposure and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna really I feel like there's no great place or perfect place to live, and the reason being is, I mean, first of all, there's climate issues everywhere, right? So if you go to the desert where you're not gonna get all the pollination and everything else like that, you have drought, like literally Phoenix and all of those areas are in like Arizona and New Mexico, they're all like worried about water issues. And New Jersey has like it's crazy the amount of pollen. My poor daughter is super allergic to grass pollen. And she just like we're gonna, just like the spring, she doesn't even have to stand in the garage. She can just go outside for 15 minutes and she's miserable. I know. You had no issues there. Look, nobody's holding you there. Just because I saw that for a while doesn't mean that you have to maintain that. That could have been where your energy was at that point. And also, please remember this, I am never 100%, and anybody who claims to be 100% is full of shit. Um, it's like so I read for my I mean, I didn't read for him formally or anything, but my chiropractor, uh, and I was like, "Oh, you're gonna meet someone, you're gonna meet someone, you're gonna meet someone." It's like, "It's not far out, it's not far out." His mother came to me formally for readings. She'd be like, "When's he gonna meet someone?" I'm like, "I don't know." And I finally told her, I was like, "I don't know because I know I see it. I know I see it, but it's like it keeps like it's just right there. It's just and I can't." And he did. He's married now. He has a baby. He's, you know, but yeah, I just couldn't. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a while because your body is just like it takes a long time. Like even when I started all that stuff for it's like it just takes a while for your body to really fully get back into like this the state of homeostasis, instead of being like all out of whack. And I don't know. Okay, what's your other question? And then Nicole, I'll look at your man troubles. So you're gonna be really upset with me that I say it this way. It's like I feel his only one foot in the door and the rest of him's out the door. So it's like there's a slim chance, but it's really all up to you and your belief systems. And you like instead of imagining all the terrible things that happened or what you said was wrong or how you went wrong, instead of like doing that, just be like, whatever, I'm a fucking badass. Like you literally have to change your self concept. And it is when people are like, well, but I've done them. And it's like, you have to, I think it was like 6 to 8 months of me doing affirmations, positive affirmations about myself before I looked in the mirror and just like randomly was like, I'm beautiful. I look good today. And it wasn't like I was super, super dressed up and I do not have a perfect body. I am not like a size 0 on the bottom or a 4 on the bottom. Like I have hips and thighs and an ass. um I've always had a big round booty. I've never had a flat butt. Uh I'm not like iconic magazine figure, whatever, but like I looked in the mirror and said it and it became natural because it like literally had to become a program. Yes, Nicole, this is for you. So they're sort of really saying like self-concept is everything. So I saw Dave with like one foot literally hanging in the crack of the door and then him walking out. So it's like, yeah, it's still there. The door is not totally closed yet, but all it's really up to now is for you to just imagine it all working out. Don't worry about how, don't worry about if he hasn't contacted you, don't worry about if he's not asking you on a date, don't worry about any of that stuff. If you really want him, you have to shift your self-concept and then just be like, he wants me. Like literally you're going to feel like you're making it up in your head. And the best example I can have of this is if you watch any stories about these actors who um sort of do more of a, what do they call it? Method acting, where they go into their mind and they're like, I am this character. Like, what's the guy who did the King's Speech? He never had a stammer before that movie, but because he embodied that character so much, he's developed a stammer in real life now. And he cannot get, or he says he can't get rid of it. I think he'd get rid of it. He just has to like, I think he'd have to go to speech therapy and like work it out of there. No, you don't have to reach out to him. You don't have to reach out to him. Like he calls me all the time. He randomly calls me and asks how I'm doing. He can't stop thinking about me. And of course he can't stop thinking about me because I am amazing. I am intriguing. I am an interesting person. He loves my brain. He loves the way it thinks. Like don't make it just about your body because you at a point when you're in a relationship, you want to be wanted for more than just your looks. You want to be wanted for your brain and the way it works. Hi, Autumn. Um, so yeah, because they're saying like it's like it's the door's not completely closed, but it's really up to, and the truth is when I see these women are like, where's my man? I'm like, work on your self-concept. Where's my career? Where's this? Where's that? Like my biggest thing is always working on my self-concept. That is the thing that I always come back to. I don't sit there and look at like a big thing, a message I've been hearing, and it's not something I do anymore, but it's something I did in the past where I'd be like, why are they successful and I'm not? Why is it working for them and it's not for me? It's like, well, that's great. If they're doing it, that means that I can do it too. If they're out there and being successful and it's working for them, that means it's a possibility for me too. I don't know any doctor that's like, well, there's already 15 doctors out there, so I can't do that. They're like, no, I'm going to go out there and or there's already these amazing plastic surgeons out there, so jobs are all taken. It's like, no, I'm going to go out there. I can be the best plastic. Like there is room for you to find somebody. Um, but work on your self-concept because if you don't start healing on, and self-concept always comes from your childhood. Like there is some stuff that comes from past life, but the majority of it comes from childhood and what we're fed societally, right? The ideas of what women have to be and the roles they're supposed to play. And I don't know, there's so much stuff lately where I'm like, that's really gross. Like There's like some TikTok sound that's like, Hermes, if you want a Birkin bag, you just go in there and you're lucky if they choose one for you, if they even have one available, and you just take whatever you get. I'm like, well, that's some toxic shit. Like, who fucking wants a Birkin if that's like, you just take what I have? Like, fuck that. Like, there's a million other purses you can get and spend a shit ton of money on and not have a toxic relationship with it. I only got my Birkin. This is like, this is all. I didn't even get a choice. I just had to take what I got. That's fucking weird. That's like, you talk about somebody playing off the toxic relationship that people have with themselves. There you go. Um, so it's literally going to come back, Nicole, to always going back to your self-concept and like, don't be frustrated that it's an everyday thing. It is a practice. Just like when you mow the lawn, like nobody goes, well, I mowed the lawn once this season. Why the fuck am I having to do it again? And I was like, because it keeps growing. Like those negative thoughts are your fallback because that was like what was ingrained in your brain. So it's like it's repetition and repetitive. Same thing when you train a dog. Like you start with dogs as puppy and you have to always maintain it. You don't all go, well, I trained him as a dog. You knew how to sit when I said as a dog, I said sit as a dog. Well, you have to maintain it. You don't get to stop training it. That's just the way it is. But it's going to take time to where you're just like, I'm fucking worthy and I'm valuable. And you're going to get up to a point where you're just like, it's not that you're being picky, whatever, when you say like, what do they bring to the table? Like, I know I'm great. What do they bring to the table? Like, they're not completing you, they're adding to you. There's a difference. They're sort of like they're the sprinkles, right? Like, if they aren't bringing something to the table, don't waste your time with them. Like, he's lucky to have you, not the other way around. Um, so it feels closer, but I understand when you say the in between, because the in between feels more like he has a hard time, like he likes his alone time and his space. I'm not saying he's neurodivergent, but like there's this part of him that really does like his like space. So that was hard working that out, like figuring out that balance. Because even if he's lived with another woman before, like traveling is different because you're like with that person the whole time. When you live with someone, you still have your jobs and you still have your like moments away from them. But when you're traveling, it's different. So just he had a great time. It was so wonderful. Like start telling yourself this. He had a great time. It was really great. Like it was nice to get to know each other, like and see how we really are together. Like just you're lying to yourself if you say all the negative stuff like, "Oh my god, he thinks I'm the worst," blah, blah, blah. Like that's a lie because I doubt he's like, "Oh my god, she's the worst." Um, let me see. Okay. It's it's not out you're not totally lost. It just feels like really work on your self-concept. Like really work on like make that I go for my walks and I listen to affirmation stuff about success and about money and about I just listen to affirmations because and self-concept stuff because you always need a little zhuzh, you know, and it's a good time for me to do it where I'm quiet and I'm moving and I just focus on those thoughts because it's a practice, because I owe it to myself, because I deserve to hear kind thoughts about me, because I deserve to be hopeful, um, and to be excited and inspired. Sorry, my phone, like, they just got home. Y'all, this is funny. So my 5-year-old cracks me up. She asked my mom, she goes, when my mom's visiting, she goes, "Nina, do you still have boobies?" So I was wearing like a baggy shirt. And then today, they were going to the pool and we were at Target and then because so we don't like the tooth fairy in our house. I mean, I don't really care, but my daughters don't want the tooth fairy to come and take their teeth. So we don't have the tooth fairy come and take teeth here. So I usually get them something because they don't want to lose their teeth forever and ever because the tooth fairy takes them forever, right? And so I always get them a little something for losing their teeth. And so we were at Target because my middle daughter lost a tooth, and we were at Target, and then my husband called and wanted to know if they wanted to go to the pool today. And they were kind of hemming and hawing about it. And so we get home, and at first they were like, yeah, we're gonna go. So we get home, get ready. Is there someone out there? And my youngest is like, I don't want to go. So I was like, okay, she's tired, whatever. So she stayed home. She eats a little bit of yogurt, and then she goes, Mom, I want to go to the pool. So I was like, okay, I'll get you dressed and bring you over there. Probably. They probably did hear me talking about them. I don't know. Um, and she goes, I just wanted to surprise everybody. I wanted to trick them and think that I wasn't going to be there. I go, well, it surprised me. So I, anyway, okay. I'm just telling a story while I'm waiting for whoever to ask a question. Deborah, do you have another question? Have a time. Oh, okay. We did the timeline on you healing. Oh, question 2. Were you talking about the remote job I currently have now when you said job in 3 months or when my lease is up in March? Let me try and remember. I don't know. When did you ask that one? Was that last time? I can't get that John Denver song out of my head now. That West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. I think it may be up in March because I'm asking, and I feel like you're staying where you're at right now for a little while. So that one might be pushed forward for March. But I feel like that's not ask a question because I feel like that's not that feels like a clarification. Oh, you posted your question in the PayPal comment? Okay, thank you. I will look for that. Do you like how I like go, no, that's not a question. Let me just um okay. So For the question you asked, I do feel like you all have to do that, but it feels more for formality's sake, not because it's like, they're trying to trick you or anything. It just feels like because and it feels like it's really brief. Like, we're like, "Oh, that's it? Like, okay." And they're like, "Yep, we're done. Like, we're good. Here you go." So, you don't have to worry about that. That's for you, Regine. Yeah, I think everything will be like spit, spot, tip top. You're very welcome. You don't know what else to ask? All right, let me do a general for you. Shall we do that? You're very welcome. Okay, Autumn, I have yours. Yes, I got yours, Autumn. All right, so Devery, let's do a general reading for you. Or let me just see what we do. Let's just see what that comes through. So there for the first thing they're like, "Oh, she needs," like, they brought highlighted aluminum, so I don't know if you look at your deodorant, and I know this sounds really weird, but it's like starting to look in your life about all the things that aren't working like, that aren't great for your body and trying to replace them or remove them or do different things with them. So, like, um, th so looking at things that it's like you're doing a lot of the self-care, like, concept stuff, and you need to stay doing that. You're doing really, really good with that. I don't feel like that's the issue. Now they're sort of like, okay, now that you're working on cleaning that up, they're like, now it's time to sort of look at the stuff outside of you that needs to help decrease like the inflammation and the chaos in your life, right? So look at aluminum in your deodorant. Are you using a deodorant that has aluminum in it? And they're look at different things and products in your life that could be done better or in a way that's healthier for you. Because now that this is changing up here, other stuff will has to start to shift now too. I feel like you have a lot more energy now. Like, it's still kinda tired, but not as tired as you were. I feel a little bit more like I can breathe a little bit easier now. And can I have permission? I'll do this after this is over with to send some energy to, like, kinda work on this here. I just want your permission to do that. Right. So when you're I think like when your body has like all of this like overwhelming stuff going on, sometimes it's hard to, like, drop the cortisol level and do all of that stuff. I'm reading a lot about that. So, that's I think where some of their where they're talking about, like, starting to remove, the physical products that are creating inflammation in your body and irritation. And walking is really great. So, like, if you're not huge into working out or you're not in a place to really work out, just go for a walk every day. Like, just get out, go for a 30, 45-minute walk. You don't need any money to do that, but it just feels like, but do you mind if I have permission to do the energy, send you some energy healing? I can feel that pressure in the top of my teeth here. I also feel like I don't know if you've been crying lately, but it's like I feel like you've had this really big release because I feel this energy over you saying life is getting easier. You don't have to struggle anymore. And I feel like I see you just this huge crying release and like of relief. Um, okay. So go for walks. Even for me, it helps like just I've been going for the walks in the evening when my husband gets home from work. So just to like get out and have my own space in my head and move my body. Hello. So it just feels like this shift is coming where you're going to have this huge release. Also put out there like the intention of like whenever I go for my walks, I never run into them. I'm so excited. It's been so easy. The universe just makes sure that I'm always protected. Like go with that mindset. Okay. But it just feels like it's time to remove some stuff, but I do feel like not as, energetically heavy at all. I also feel more alert and not as tired. So even if you're not noticing any big shifts with what you're doing is working. All right. D, did you write your question? Oh, there you are. Okay. Just wanted to know what times feeling or what Tim's feelings and thoughts are for me, and then anything you can tell me about my future spouse. You're very welcome. I feel like he likes you, but he's not really, I don't know if it's like a I don't know if this is a good romantic match. He feels very scattered and, like, distracted, like, there's all kinds of other stuff going on. Um, I don't know if it's there's other people he's interested in, but it's just, like, his mind is elsewhere and a lot on work. Um, You know how I don't know if you've ever had friends like this, but when I had some guy friends who they were completely oblivious if someone was hitting on them. Like, they just had no clue if somebody was interested in them and hitting on them. They would be like, and they were like, "Oh, what? I was just looking at this car over here, and that's the coolest car." And you're like, "Oh, they're, like, really into you." And you're like, "What? They are?" Like, there's just he feels like he's a little over there. So it's I don't know that he has room for a romantic relationship right now. So it's not like, "Oh, I don't like her. She's like, oh, gross." It's just like he's, like, not in that mindset. I'm gonna put a little lipstick on. And your future spouse? I like that. Yet. That's beautiful, positive thinking. Um, I don't know that he's your future spouse. Um, sorry, I'm just trying to figure out why this is. Hmm. Hmm. Um, I keep getting a name and not anything else, but I don't trust that, and I don't trust that because I'm not really good with names. Like, I if I get them, 'em, I'm always like, "Oh my god, I got the name." Hi, McKeegan. Is the name Chris connected to him? Angela, I have your payment. Well, I kept hearing the name Chris. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's the person or McKeegan, if you wanna jump on, you can. I don't know if that means that's, like, the person or if that's there's something with that name or if it's nothing because 'cause I'm not really great with the names. But that's what I kept hearing. Let me just ask again. And then I'm gonna give you a little pep talk about your manifesting because you should get what you want. So, oh, the one other thing I got, and you're probably not gonna like this either. It may not be actual marriage, but it will be a long-term relationship with children. So, I don't know if it's that you both decide where you're just like, this is a, like the certificate and the legal document that says we're married and a partnership is not important, that like it's like Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. They are not married. They have a very committed long-term relationship with children, but they are not married. It feels like it might be something like that. That might be where I'm getting hung up and why I'm not, seeing much about spouse per se because it's not a spouse situation. And I'm sure that's disappointing to hear that because you're not the first person I've said that before, and, like, one woman who's a friend of ours, I was like, "I don't think you're ever getting married." I'm like, "But he's not going anywhere, so are you okay with not having that piece of paper? Like, do you need that piece of paper in order to be in a relationship and know that he loves you?" And even, like, now she talks about it, she's like, "He treats me, like, better than most women's husbands treat them." Like, they have a good relationship, they're committed, and they're still together. They've been together longer than I've been with my husband. Okay. So then maybe that's where it's at. Maybe that's why I'm, like, getting stuck on the spouse thing where it's not, um that's why it's not happening. Because I told you when you ask questions, like, it gets, like, weird where I'm like, I don't see it as that, but it doesn't mean that you're not gonna have somebody. So then maybe that's why I'm not getting it. So maybe the Chris name will make sense later. Maybe it's his dad's name. Maybe it's a middle name. Maybe it's who knows? I don't know. Um, I won't tell you that this is what it is because I'm totally okay going, I don't know. This is what I'm hearing. You're, you're welcome. It's okay, not should have or anything, but that's why it's really weird. You can ask anybody that I've, like, trained how to do this and, like, just, like, it's kinda like 20 questions, and if you don't ask the right question or ask it in a specific way, you'll get different answers depending on how you ask the question, right? You may get more details if you ask it a different, more roundabout way. And when I've trained people, I'm like, "Well, wait, ask it this way," and they're like, "Oh, it's so annoying, it's like you're." I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm just showing you that you'll get, like, it's just different wording." And I don't know why they're oddly specific that way. I don't understand it. I'm not on that side of it. So, like, it's very rare that my guides will just randomly give me information without me asking for it. It is almost like 99.9999999 repeating percent of the time that they will only give me information when I ask for it. And it's simply a thought in my head, but again, maybe that's the free will aspect of it, right? You are very welcome. Thank you for trusting me with that. Julia, Autumn, Angela, you guys are up. Sure, you can, KK. That's fine. So then I've got so hang on, let me update the list. Hmm. Okay, thanks, Julia. So he is being deceptive, but not in the way you think. Like, I don't feel cheating or anything like that. I just feel like it feels really kind of childish in a way. And, like, I'm going to give this example. I don't know that this is exactly what it is, but it's like if he makes plans with his friends, he'll make the plans and tell his friends he's going, but then he'll forget to tell you and then be like, "Oh, I forgot to tell you," but because he doesn't want you to be able to say no. even though you wouldn't say no, it's like this childish type deception. Like he's not being open, like calling you right away and be like, "Hey, the guys want to do this on this way," because he feels like he's having to ask permission when he's not asking permission. So it's like you get upset about it not because it he doesn't realize, like, it's like, "Well, it affects me." It's not really because I feel like you have to ask me permission. I feel like that needs to be clarified. I don't know if that makes any sense. So it's like there's a level of deception, but it's not because he's having an affair. It's like this childish way to approach something. Like the way a 14-year-old handles it instead of the way a grown ass adult should handle it. And then I don't feel like you should push him on it. It just feels like communicating differently and then go back to Julia, go back to like what I was talking to Nicole about. Work on your self concept and don't imagine the negative, shitty conversation in your head. Imagine the like positive changing, him coming forth and being super honest. And if you can't see the conversation with him when you're doing the imagination stuff, see it as if you come back on here and be like, oh my God, I totally imagined it perfectly. And he came forward and he realized, like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he's now honest and open and always tells me what's going on, always thinks of me, always considers my how things affect me, something like that. I also did this thing on TikTok. I don't know if you guys follow me on it, but and because it's something that I kind of like, my guys were like, "Hey, you should do this," and it's actually kind of cool. Like when you have this area you're stuck on seeing in life, um, write a character development for the main character energy that you want to have. So you're going to write a description at the top of a page. You'll put like main character energy. And then your character, your developing character, as if you're writing a screenplay, whoever you want yourself to be is like really satisfied in their marriage, has a great marriage. He's always really honest with her. Um Because he doesn't put others first because he loves them more or values them more, it's because he feels like, "Oh, they'll always be there," right? It's taking you for granted for sure and lack of appreciation for what he has, but rewrite that script. "I'm valuable, I'm worthy, I am appreciated, he always shows me appreciation." Like, so, right, do the main character development, what character believes what that main character believes, right? And don't be like the main character in those horrible love stories that feel like shit, and like it's the glow up at the end of the movie, right? Not the beginning, the glow up at the end of the movie. Um, they have a great relationship. They have open and honest communication. He always appreciates her. And then you're going to shift that from third person into first person, building and developing your affirmations. Okay. Okay. Autumn, I'm struggling a bit as I'm disappointed at where I am in life. I want to have my own place, be in a relationship, have friends and fun. Great. Um, can I get guidance for this, or will things will improve because you're going to follow this advice I'm sharing about self-concept. Um, since I've been working on my own self-concept, and this has, been in the last year or two, like really, really working on it and like diving into it and doing the affirmation work, and it is a daily practice, right? So you're going to have it because I know you're going to do this. Um, when there's a whole lot of things I'm trying to manifest at once, I pick one at first just to sort of focus on or do this character development thing because then it works on the whole part of it. Um, I feel like your own place in the next 6 months, it might be close to 9 months, but it's, like, in the next 6 months or so. It's not right at, like, the beginning of the year or anything like that. And I feel like that may be first before what was your whole list? The increased friendships and stuff, I feel like start coming in the next 3 months. But so, okay, I've thought about a lot about this, the whole friendship thing for a long time because when I was younger, I was really negatively impacted on my own by my own thought processes about what I thought friendships look like or that you I had to have a lot of friends in order to be happy or a big group of friends and like I was always sort of on the outside. I was never really like the popular one, right? I was just always like on the outside fringe of it. And now I realize I think it's my neurodivergence because I'm just a little bit like I do miss those sort of things socially and um I'm not totally weird and awkward, but I just like I don't know how to explain it. No one would go, "You're autistic." I totally think so, but, like, I look at stuff and I'm like, I have a lot of tendencies." Like, I have a lot of the stuff. I'm exhausted by a lot of I can do it, I can mask, I can handle, I can get in there, and I can do like, play the part, but I always feel like it's, like, not like I'm like, "Am I holding myself just right?" So, I'm not saying you're autistic, but I'm saying, like, decide what it is you really want, like, what really like, you don't have to have a lot of friends to be happy. Like, you don't always have to be going out. If that's what you want, then visualize that that's what you have, like, we go out, we get along, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So then perfect. Be picky. Be picky with your energy and how you spend it, and then it is the universe brought me in the right people. I was totally ready for it, they brought me in the right person, or imagine, like, again, sometimes I imagine it as if I'm talking to somebody else about, like, this stuff happened to me, so I don't have to, like, get caught up in the details of, like, what that friend looks like. I can see hanging out with them, like, maybe see a text message, like, "Yeah, I totally wanna get together," or, like, a phone sometimes the phone ringing is hard. Or coming on here and be like, "Anna, I met a friend. I'm so excited. We get along really well." Um, that feels like 3 months happening. Somebody coming in or meeting somebody through work or whatever, that feels like 3 months. They should have a friendship app. It's hard making friends when you're an adult. D, that's fine, you can. I don't my phone is, like, going crazy. I don't know what's going on. It's hard making friends when like, when you're in college when I was in college, there's, like I even felt on the outside then. I had, like, one person I was close with in a group. This is how I've always been, where there's, like, 1 or 2 people that I'm close with in a group, and then I just sort of feel like I'm there, people are friendly, but I'm not really, like, a necessarily a part of the group. That's just how it is. I info dump. I don't trauma dump, I info dump, where I get excited about something. I'm like, "Let me tell you about this. Let me tell you all about iodine deficiency." That's why I try to stop doing that where I'm like, "You should just read about it," because, like, I could go on. Yeah, it's yeah. Okay, so, you will. It's so it feels like it'll be like friends and about, like, a new friendship coming in, like, 3 months, and then 6 months, I feel like, is where you move out on your own. And I don't feel the relationship as close by, but it feels like I I also feel like you're not really putting yourself out there to date. So, I got it. Okay, D. So I feel like that's maybe why I don't see that one. I'm not saying you don't want to meet someone. It just feels like that's the thing that comes in last. So it feels like the friendship first. And part of that is like, okay, so when we're working on things coming in and manifesting things in our belief systems, what's easiest to believe comes in the quickest. What fits into our natural belief system, like I know what it is to have friendships and that kind of stuff. So that's going to come in easily. Of course, I'll meet someone. Um, and the moving part, it just feels like the belief system around what relationships are and what love is and how that comes in and am I lovable comes in a little bit later. I say affirmations every night with my girls. My two little ones. My oldest one is like, "Oh, Mom, this lighting always makes my one eyebrow look really heavy. I don't know what it is." Anyway, that's a me thing, not a you thing. Um, and so, but we always say, "I love myself. I am lovable. I am loved." So I feel like I love myself and I am lovable are very important for you to say. I am worthy. I am valuable. I'm enough. Good things always happen to me. These are things I say with my kids every night. I am protected. I am safe. I trust myself. I trust my intuition. Because a lot of times putting ourselves out there, when we have like things that have happened in the past that hurt us, we think like, how do I trust anybody else? Don't worry about trusting anybody else. Just trust yourself. Know that you can trust yourself. You're trustworthy. You've got good intuition. You trust your intuition. Um, I've got great ideas. My opinions matter. People love talking with me. People get excited when we're talking. I don't know why, but I just feel like because I don't know, you don't want the people that are like, okay, oh my God, shut up. Just like I can't handle it when they just stop talking. Like that's what you think about when you want a friendship, right? We have a lot in common. I easily get along with people. You're gonna find your group. But it's like, I know this doesn't sound like psychic, but it's like the truth is like you gotta go back into the self-concept stuff. It's everything. It's everything. Okay. Um, Angela, your question, McKeekan, KK, and then um, who did I say just paid? Doo, doo, doo. D. And sometimes things come up a lot and you're connected. Um, a lot, like, where you'll hear repetitive things from same people. Y'all, listen, my hair is really like, I don't know if you remember, like, you can look at some of my old videos, like, this is crazy. This is amazing. I'm convinced that is all. Um, Angela, if you're here. Oh, there you are. Just a general. Okay, perfect. I don't know. I don't think this is your birthday because I know you're more than 2 if you're typing. But is there some kind of anniversary that happened or because see 2 candles. This is for you, Angela. And it feels like celebratory, not so it could be a work anniversary, it could be a relationship anniversary, like, I don't wanna say death passing, but, like, there's something around it being the 2nd time around. Is it a 2nd anniversary? 'Cause I saw 2 candles. I mean, I guess that could be 11, but I saw 2 candles. These plants, I gotta give them some love. Um, what anniversary is it? It's interesting because I saw it almost like a flat cake, but, like, the cake board was really big outside of it. There's, like, gold or bronze around it. What anniversary is it? What year? 18. I mean, maybe that's it. When is it? Is it what day is it on? Or the date? I don't need to know. Or is it in 2 weeks? I'm like, I just wanna know why there's these 2 candles. 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 months, like, I'm trying to figure out why they would say that. And then I'll keep moving with your stuff, but I'm just trying to understand the connection there, why they would say that. I was like, "So," or is like, "Is something going on? Like, does she needs to know about?" And they're like, "Oh, no, she's got many more to follow." And it's like, even though it's been a struggle, it's like you're both sort of like, "I don't have to find anybody else." Like, it's not that you don't love each other, but it's literally like, even with both of your faults, like, you find humor in them, and, like, it's sort of like, yeah, like, there may be a running joke about, like, yeah, he may be a dummy or whatever, like, and act stupid or do dumb things, but, like, whatever, I'm stuck with him. Are you still here? So I asked her, guys, I guess you have a female, if I'm saying it that way, a heavy female connection about your health. I'm like, so what does she need to know about her health, or is there anything going on that she needs to focus on? And I feel like it's interesting because I felt like a heaviness the way I normally would feel if like someone had some heart issues going on, but it's on my right side. And I don't necessarily feel like it's connected to my breast. So I don't know if you have like I feel like I can't take a full deep breath, like I'm not getting the expansion I should be getting. Do you have something going on with, like, a history of asthma, or do you have, COPD or emphysema or something where I'm not getting the expansion here and I don't know what's going on over here? I don't feel like cancer, it literally feels like fibrous and not stretching. I'm really tight in my jaw, like, are you just tight on your muscles all the way over here on your right side? So the okay. It feels like it's my right side versus my left. So this is gonna sound weird, but this is what I feel like. I don't necessarily feel like, I mean, certainly try this if it doesn't work, maybe get it checked out. Because 'Cause I'm not a doctor, right? But I feel like needing to, like, expand, like, all of this. So, like, working on stretching and moving all of this and here too, like, it feels like tight here as you insert. This is where your muscles, your pectoral muscles insert into your shoulder. But I also feel like needing to really stretch in between your ribs and do that kind of work. So I don't know if it would require like physical therapy because you're really tight in this area. I honestly I don't know how this would work, or a chiropractor. And just doing some breath work type stuff. So look up maybe the Wim Hof breathing technique, but do beginners versus, because if you start on the full thing, it's like, "Ooh," and your jaw is tight. So that's like all this like, so here with your jaw, you're gonna want to loosen here. I take a gua sha, and because when my everything gets tight in my neck, I actually go to where all the muscles insert at the base of the skull and I rub here. Don't go crazy hard, right? But it just helps give you a little bit more pressure than your fingers can get. And I just go down. I don't rub back and forth. I just go down because of your hair. Um, and I help loosen up there, and then also here in front of your jaw. And like there's a spot here right behind your ear. Oh, and then they said this that you need to loosen up your grip of control on everything. So it's like trying to control the outcome of everything and trying to control the way things are. And like even in manifesting, like it has to happen this way. And they're like, look, what do you want the outcome to be? And then let us deal with the details. Like it's not your job to need to know exactly how everything falls together in order for you to get that free coffee. Right. So like there's a technique. Neville Goddard has this technique of like as you fall asleep at night, before you go to bed, right before you drop off into dream sleep, you think about the thing that you want. So, like, oh, I always get a free cup of coffee. Somebody always brings me a free cup of coffee. You don't need to worry about who's doing it, when they're doing it, where they're getting the coffee from, blah, 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 blah. Maybe you go and you win a free coffee at 7-Eleven. Maybe, and it's like buy one, get one free, free coffee. Maybe it's somebody shows up with a Dunkin' Donuts free coffee. Maybe it's like you find a little thing on the ground that somebody did the punches out for your happens to be for your favorite coffee thing, and there's nobody around. So guess what? It's yours. Like don't decide that it has to be this coworker on this day of the week and da da da. Well, it's like, what if the coworker ends up sick? Like, don't create all these like rules of the way it has to be. Like, be open to how it can happen. So, type A can work really, really well and help you, but it can also hinder you. Same thing with being type B. Like, it doesn't matter. There is no this one's better than that one. It's just like they both have their pluses and minuses. And it just feels like your type A is sort of like you have to loosen your grip just a little bit. Okay, okie dokie. Okay, I'm gonna leave you with that. Keegan, if you want to write your question, and then I'll do yours, KK. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I hope that was satisfying or satisfied your desire for your reading. But this like feels more of a muscular thing rather than an actual like something's wrong. Like like you have to have movement in between your ribs, and you're not getting the movement that you need. Oh, you can see that shelf there on the ground that I need to hang up, do something with. You're welcome. You're really stressed out about moving. Do you still have like a few months left on your lease, like 2.5, 3 months left on your lease, or wherever you're at right now? So the way it feels to me, I'm gonna tell you this way, then why I'm getting it that way. Oh, toughing it out. Okay, okay. So that's what I was like, I feel like I'm toughing it out for 2 to 3 months. That's why I'm like, "Do you have a little bit left?" I feel like I'm like where you're like at the end of your lease, you have a terrible roommate, and you're like, "Oh my god, can I make it through this?" It's like, "It's only 2.5 more months. Can I like, what do I have to do to make it through it?" That's what I feel like. So, it feels like they're like, "You can leave." Like, you don't have to, like, just because you live there doesn't mean you have to spend a lot of time there. It's like, go out and find things to do outside of the space so you're there as little as possible, so there's as little interaction as possible. Also, we're gonna go back to the manifesting techniques, like what I'm talking with everybody else, and, belief systems, and so it's like, don't imagine the terrible, uncomfortable shitty relationship that you have, right? Where it's like, "Oh my god, he's so controlling, he's this and that." Just be like, "Oh my god, I'm so pleasantly surprised at how, like, he's shifted and changed, and, like, he's a little more laid back, or he's really respectful of me, or he's really appreciative of my presence." Like, whatever it is that's gonna make it easier. We get along really well. It's been a lot easier than I imagined it would be, or it was as easy as I imagined it would be, or even easier than I imagined it to be. And I don't know why they just said a pizza box. I don't know what, like, I just saw a pizza box. So is there a pizza place nearby? Does he like, there's something about pizza. Um, it feels like it's a short period you're there. I don't feel like you're there for a really, really long period. And I feel like it goes better than you imagine. But a lot of that's got to be with your self concept and your belief system around that. And remember, we are never the same person for anybody, right? So every single person that you have a relationship with has a different view of who you are, and his view, and same thing with you on his view of who he is. Um, I just heard them say when we give people room to grow, they expand. So you have to give them room to grow in your brain. Everything starts here. I've been working on my self-concept and worthiness lately. Perfectly, perfectly, perfectly stay with that. And so sometimes things are going to pop up. The old story is going to pop up, and it's not because your work isn't working. It's because the universe goes, do you really want this new belief system? Do you really want this new thing towards yourself? And you have to be like, yeah, I do. I do believe I am worthy and deserving. So, like, that will go away. The true story is my brother really respects me and really, although I feel like there's some kind of resent there, that's the old story and that can be rewritten. Okay. I do feel like there's a resentment there on his part. I feel like a lot of responsibility was put on him when he was younger by your parents. He was parentified, and like there's a lot of like resentment there. Either that or like some kind of, there's something with the parents there. There's like some resentment, but I still feel like that's an old story that can change, that needs to be rewritten. Um, so you need to start telling yourself before you move in on the 1st in the next 10 days, I'm so amazed at how well we get along. It's been really easy, like as if it's already happened. But I do feel like it's not going to be as bad as you think, but it's like finding they're sort of telling me finding ways to like be like, okay, I don't really need to be here all the time. I don't really need to be in the business all the time. Um, find anything outside of the house to entertain you. Going for walks regularly. Just getting out. You'll find a place. I actually feel like you find a place while you're on a walk. So I don't feel like you're gonna move far from where you're at with your brother. You don't live in the United States, right? Because I feel like somewhere, hang on. I like some of you guys' last names. I'm like, is this really your last name? Are you in Canada? Oh, you're in Jersey. It's like, why do I feel like you're in a foreign country? I feel like you're gonna be fine, and you're gonna find a place, don't worry. It's a lot of that. They're kinda like a lot of it's in your head. It's like I get stuck in my head a little bit. I'm sure other people do too, where we're just like, "Oh, it's gonna be like this." It's like and then when you do something, you're like, "Why the fuck?" Like, I'll have a project I avoided this is a really stupid one, but this will show you how I get stuck in my head. Um, my kids were like, "We wanna try a coconut," and I'm like I've always heard, "Oh my god, it's so hard to open up coconuts, blah, blah, blah." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll buy a coconut." Oh, fuck, what did I just do? I sat on this coconut forever and was like avoiding it, avoiding it, avoiding it because I heard like, "Oh, you need a screwdriver," and I'm like, "Well, all we have are these like nasty, been used on all kinds of stuff like screwdrivers." Like, so I was like, "Oh," and I avoided, 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 and finally I opened it up the other day and it had fermented, so it smelled like alcohol. So apparently, so I was like, well, we're not using this one. So I bought another one and I opened it. It was so easy. But like I avoided it for so long. And then I was like, oh, that really wasn't that bad. So it's like, it feels like you're avoiding stuff, right? Or dreading it. And it's not going to be as bad as you built up in your head. So they're sort of like, stop building it up into your head as being this dreadful thing that's going to happen. And just imagine it as like, oh, it's really peaceful. It's really easy. I'm like, I'm finding my peace and finding my place. Oh, look at like even make it like, oh, I found a lot of healing. I found a lot of growth in this moment. Like this actually really worked out for my benefit. Like I was able to save money. I found a great place. And I developed a better relationship with my brother. Like whatever it is, build it into something as a healthier thing rather than this past thing. And like listen to that podcast with Tom DeLonge just kind of talking, because it's like it's not that he says something so profound, but like when you hear somebody who's not he's not trying to sell anything on there. I mean, he's written books and stuff, but he's sort of just like having a conversation with a friend and like, yeah, like your thoughts do really create your reality. And like if you listen to like Joe Dispenza, like I try not to get like this person is God. It's like, but when they say that little nugget of something, I'm like, yeah, like where he's like, all everything that's happening right now is a result of your old thoughts. And like even this Tom DeLonge guy, he's like, they're kind of looking at like if everybody realized how powerful they were and how much we create our reality, like there's a reason they try and stop you from doing that. Like the powers that be, I don't know, whoever they are. And he's not talking about like as in a like the Illuminati or anything like that. He's just speaking it as in like the greater they, kind of using that form of they, the royal we sort of thing. I don't know, whatever that is. Like it just feels like just listen to it. It's interesting. So it's Steve O, whatever his podcast is. You can just look Steve O podcast and like Tom DeLonge is on there. He's a few like little whatever previously. To me, that's always when it's really profound where I'm like, yeah, this thing is real. Like that is my validation or whatever, that I'm just going to keep on this path and have fun with it. Right. So have fun with your thoughts. Like if we really do get to create whatever, why do we put ourselves in a state of misery? Sometimes it's a good thing because it shows us what we like and what we don't like. Well, then how do I shift that to create something better? But sometimes it's just like we're a glutton for punishment. Stop it. Stop being a glutton for punishment. Um, I don't feel like your brother is this toxic, horrible person that you should be staying away from, and that's why you should avoid it. Like I have sisters, and I know we can recreate, but sometimes it's really, really hard to get into our like to recreate people. But my relationships with my sisters are like they're not healthy people to be around. Yeah. And that was a once in a lifetime flood, right? So remember that. So recreate that thought, because if he's you need to come back and he's still welcome you in, he can't be that horrible. So then it's like we really appreciate each other, we respect each other's space, respect each other's needs, make it a two-way street. It doesn't have to, so then you don't feel like, "Oh, like I'm selfish for asking for these things." No, we respect each other. We're really open and honest in our communication. We always speak kindly to each other. We always speak respectfully to each other. Respectful and kindness doesn't mean that you aren't honest. You can be honest with somebody and still be respectful and kind about how you can say like, "This kind of sucks and I didn't really like when you did that." Well, oh, okay. Or, "Hey, I'd really appreciate if you," like, there's ways to be respectful and kind without being a doormat. That's not the same thing. So shift that conversation in your head, and also know that that'll never happen again. That's a once in a lifetime flood. We are okay. We are safe. We are protected. Um, you're okay. I do think we're gonna get a really big winter snowstorm though, because I saw like I kept seeing the wind and snow whipping around. So I think we're due. I don't know where you're at in Jersey. I don't know where that is. Sorry. Um, I'm in northern New Jersey, and I do feel like we're gonna get a really big. Like half the time, I don't know why they do this, but when you look at New Jersey weather map and they show you like the local weather, my town is never in it because we're close enough to New York City. Like we're like somehow not part of New Jersey. I'm only 15 miles outside of the city, so, like, we're not far. Um, I digress. Anyway, okay, KK. Um, you wanted to know about East New Brook. Oh, okay. So you're central? I guess that's central. I don't understand how they break up New Jersey. I'm not from here. So I'm always like, this is um KK, you want to know about work and career, right? Work and career. Are you still here? Work and career. And then D, you had one more clarification question. So okay. Have you been focusing on so I don't want you to really answer this, but I'm asking it as a question and then I'll like, but don't write your answer just yet because you're good at you're like I know that you're on time and you're typing quick. So don't answer it just yet. Just let me get through my ramble and then answer it. Okay. So I'm asking this, have you been working on manifesting like a totally different, like having multiple streams of income and doing a whole bunch of different things? Because I feel like within the next year, you're leaving your job and you've got multiple streams of income coming in, like you doing your own thing. And I don't know if I've said this to you before, but it's like I feel like you've been really intentionally making shifts and manifesting something different. So this is why when I say to people like, why do you say something different each time? It's like because you're shifting, you're manifesting based on the life that's coming in. You're like, "Oh, I like this, I don't like this, so I'm shifting, I'm shifting, I'm shifting." Like, when people say, "I'm on this timeline," you're like, or "I shifted timelines," it's like you're always shifting timelines. You are always, always, always shifting timelines. So, you may notice one big jump and one big shift, but it's like a subtle shift all the time, right? You're always um, and it just feels like I've intentionally, like, as if I was on a giant lazy Susan, but it sounds like I can hear it in my head, it sounds like stone shifting, where it's like there's a path here, there's a path here, and it's like you've turned the big stone and you've shifted to do this. Like, I don't wanna work for anybody anymore, I'm doing my own thing, and I've literally you've got multiple streams of income, so maybe you're doing something on Fiverr and doing jobs on Fiverr, maybe you're got your it's, you know, personal training thing going, and then there's like 4 or 5 different ways that you have money coming in. And that's like and it feels very abrupt when you leave your job. And I don't feel like because 'cause you're fired and they let you go, it just feels like, "Well, I'm done. Like, I've got this coming in, I'm done." Like, it doesn't feel like, "Oh, can I work part-time?" It's like literally like, "Oh, I'm turning in, here's my resignation, da, da, da." You're very welcome. Welcome. Now you can answer. Does that make sense when I say that? Yeah. So it feels like within a year, I'm totally done with that other job and I've gotten enough coming in. And it may be less than a year, but it just feels like that's like your donezo point. And I want to be clear that I don't feel like there's any animosity at work or someone not liking you or like they're just holding it against you. It just feels like it's almost you know how we put manifestations out there like years and years ago about like wanting different things, like we just in general people, and then we're like, oh, it just didn't happen or whatever. Sometimes the universe like trickles in this way, or like if you're manifesting something, but it requires you to make a change or requires you to take a step in a direction and you're not quite doing it, and you're not quite doing it, or your path is like this, like the universe goes like, it's almost time to kick you off. Like if you don't listen, we're going to do things that push you out. So it's not that anybody is keeping the work from you. It's sort of that you put this manifestation out there to do more, have more, be more. And so they're like, okay, the only way to really get you into that direction is to have less here. Um, It doesn't feel like any one, like, big leap, it's literally, like, just try something, just do something. So, like, put yourself available for a job on Fiverr, like, put yourself available for a job on, I don't know, whatever else is out there besides Fiverr that's similar to that where you can do work. Um, put yourself out there to write copy for stuff because I feel like you would be really good at that. Um, or to do editing or I don't know, it just feels like just putting yourself out there or learning about something, taking a step to learn about it and then trying it. It feels like you're not going to necessarily get it right the first time, but it just feels like take the step towards it. Don't worry if it's the perfect thing or the right thing or you're going to get it 100%. It's like just take that step. Like, you know me, we write on the side. You know that I try a whole bunch of different things. I'm like, no, that's not right. I'll retry and redo it. Like, I'm now currently researching a totally different way to do my planners because I want to do the hard copy, but I'm also in my head stuck about like creating more waste on the earth. And so I'm going to create the digital planner version of like everything I have already. I'm going to put it into digital version and sell it. So that's what I'm doing, people. I've already got a planner made. I'm just going to throw it into digital version and throw it on my Etsy so that you can purchase it that way. Because I also like didn't, I mean, I have a thing that I love with my brain is handwriting things out. So I have an iPad now. I guess I never thought about people having iPads and pens to do like to, so that when you're journaling, but you're not like, it's not on paper, it's on your iPad. See how like my brain gets stuck? Um, and then the universe goes, "Hey, dummy, why didn't you think of this?" And I go, "Oh, okay, thanks." So I'm figuring out how to do this and um, whatever. Okay. So it just feels like it's literally like, don't worry if it's perfect or if it's right. Like, just get in the momentum of it. Okay. Just jump into the momentum of it. And then, like, it will take you where it needs to go. And then you'll be like, oh, like the right video will pop up or the right person will walk in or whatever. And I mean, it's really kind of brilliant the way the algorithms work, whatever. Cause like I just go, the universe will send me whatever I need, however it needs to send it to me. So the right video pops up, the right person will pop in. Like it literally is quite beautiful the way it's super easy to like, if you're just open to it. Um, Also, I really need to throw this out there. If any of you like Dolores Cannon, stop. I have so many reservations. I don't know. That was super random, but I keep hearing Dolores Cannon in my head. Like, so I feel like I had to say it. Okay, D, thank you. If not Tim, have I already met my next long-term partner? So here's what I want to say to you. It very well could be him, especially because you're so like you do seem a little like you're like, I'm manifesting him, but you're also a little bit laid back about the timing. Um, I'm not ruling him out. I know I said that earlier, but then when you said like, "Oh yeah," because I don't see marriage with him, and that's why I'm like, I don't know. Um, and you asked the way you asked the question was marriage, so I was like, well, not him. Um, so if that's who you want, don't ask me for like ask me a different question. Because if that's who you want, manifest that shit. Stop. Because right there, you're telling me there's some self-concept there that thinking that it's not possible. It's 1,000% possible. It's 1,000,000% possible. It's guaranteed if you just fucking go in with it. Where people go like, "Oh, well, just don't be so hard on the timeline," right? Which I don't think you really are. I think you're kinda like, "Whatever." Um, just see it as possible, see it as being. I think it's funny that I do tell you guys, like, "No, that's not the question you want." I'm like, I'm not answering that because That's all like you and I believe you can have what you want. And so I feel like if I was like, "Oh, well, let's look at that. Do I see the next 5 months at your job going well for me?" Also, I do feel like, even if you're just friends with Tim right now, I do feel like, by the way, because I just said that when you said 5 months, I do feel like you'll start dating him within the next 5 months. It'll be very casual and very, like, nothing like whatever, but it feels like it's very casual and easy, and it's within, like, 5 months. I put it closer to the 5 months, 6-month mark. Um, but it feels like because you're okay with the friendship and just getting to know him and being supportive and not there's no pressure. That does not mean accepting breadcrumbs. I wanna be very clear on that. That does not mean that breadcrumbs are okay. Like, he has to fucking show up. You were not accepting breadcrumbs, but it it's just, like, not pressuring to be, like, on the clock. Yeah, but I feel like you're bored at work. It feels like the work itself is, like, not very challenging, and it feels like the people are a little overdramatic. Like, people are exhausting at your job. It feels like there's a lot of, like, gossipy, like, "Oh my god, da, 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 da." I'm like, yeah. I just feel like the work is, like, very monotonous. It's the same thing over and over, but I feel like I said, the people are like, "Huh." But you'll be fine. As long like so I when I was a nurse and the last job I worked at, um, some of the staff wasn't that some of the people were very, very nice. Most of the people were nice. The majority were nice. Few of the people were really, like, always stirring up shit. And so, like, when I was it's like you're with patients all day, every day. It's like constant. So, like, on my breaks, people will go in the break room, like, "Why don't you go in the break room?" And I'm like, "I just need, like, not to be around a lot of people." And I think people received that wrong, but energetically, it was just a lot for me, right? And I think people thought I didn't like anybody or I wasn't like and it wasn't that at all. It was just I thought people were really nice, but I just really didn't it was hard for me to be around people all day long every day and not have, like, a moment to just, like, separate myself energetically, and I bet that's sort of what happens with you. So, go take a walk if you need to, like, give yourself and don't feel guilty about having your quiet moment and quiet space. And if people are like, "Oh," just like people get the whole empath stuff, just be like, "It's a lot for me sometimes because 'cause I'm an" just say you're an empath. Everybody knows what that shit is. Um, when I was working, I didn't know how to explain that to people. Like, I didn't realize how incredibly sensitive I was to other people's stuff. I mean, now, like, I was doing a reading the other week, and I literally just mentioned your dad, and then I was like, "Oh, he's got diabetes." Like, I wasn't even reading his energy, I was connecting with something else, and then, like, it just said this woman's just said, "Your dad." That's it all I said, and then all of a sudden, I got a flood of what was going on with him. Like, it just, like, happens. Like, if I ever do a circle with people where I do a message circle and there's like 10 people on the Zoom, like I go from one person to another person to another person. I don't spend a lot of time. Like even here, I don't spend a lot of time like resetting and like kind of I'm very sensitive. So if you just say that, like most people will be pretty respectful, I feel like. It's okay to say you need a few minutes to reset. I know you're saying this is a new role for you and you're not bored, but I just feel like the work's not challenging enough for you. They're making me feel like you're meant to do bigger things. So I don't know that this is the job you're at for the next 20 years. This is a stepping stone. for sure. Okie dokie. All right. I'm going to say goodnight. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I will see you next weekend. Check out my TikTok stuff because I'm a little bit more active over there. I'm trying to get even more active, but my mom's been here. So she and my girls end up sleeping down here, having a big slumber party every night down here in the same room. This is usually where I record. So anyway, have a wonderful week. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for being here. Share, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I will see you next week. I'm hoping next week I can be like, I have an Etsy store now and you should look. I'm actually creating t-shirts and some mugs and some other stuff that I just think are like whatever. Anyway, just because I feel like it, whatever. If you like it, great. If you don't, okay. Have a good week and I will see you later. Bye.